You know, there's something the old fighter jocks used to say about the P-47 Thunderbolt. If you can dodge wrenches, you can fly the Jug. Picture this: spring of 1943. The skies over Europe. A young Luftwaffe pilot spots his first P-47 lumbering toward him at 20,000 feet. He grins. Then he laughs. That American fighter looked like someone had strapped wings to a milk truck. 7 tons of airplane. Huge. Bulky. Compared to his sleek Focke-Wulf 190, it was a flying bathtub. Easy kill, he thought. He was about to learn the hardest lesson of his life, if he survived the next 3 minutes. Let me take you back to 1942. The Army Air Corps needed a fighter, desperately. American boys were dying in the Pacific, and Britain was begging for help in the skies over France and Germany. Republic Aviation had an idea. A big idea. Literally. Chief designer Alexander Kartveli looked at the new Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp engine, 2,000 horsepower of raw American muscle, and said, "Let's build a fighter around this beast." What rolled out of the factory in Farmingdale, Long Island, shocked everyone. The P-47 Thunderbolt weighed 12,500 pounds empty. For perspective, that's nearly twice as heavy as a Spitfire. The boys started calling it the Jug, short for juggernaut, though some said it stood for how it looked, shaped like a jug of moonshine. When the first Thunderbolts arrived in England in late 1942, even American pilots were skeptical. One pilot from the 56th Fighter Group took one look and said, "That thing won't climb, it won't turn, and it sure as hell won't catch a 109. The Luftwaffe pilots? They called it Der Dicke in their after-action reports. The fat one. The Germans had been ruling the skies with their Messerschmitt Bf 109s and Focke-Wulf 190s. Sleek, nimble, deadly. These were aircraft that could turn on a dime and climb like homesick angels. So when they first encountered these massive American fighters, they couldn't believe their luck. April 15th, 1943. The 4th Fighter Group escorts B-17 bombers deep into German territory. Major Don Blakesley is leading a squadron of P-47s. His radio crackles. "Bandits, 11 o'clock high." A staffel of FW-190s dives on the formation. The German leader, a veteran with 47 kills, picks out a P-47. He positions himself perfectly for a classic bounce. Diving from the sun, all the advantage is his. He opens fire. Tracers stream toward the Thunderbolt. And then, something impossible happens. The P-47 doesn't explode. The bullets hit. He saw them hit. But the American plane doesn't even seem to notice. Instead, it rolls, extends, and now it's diving away at a speed the German can't match. He pushes his throttle to the stops. The FW-190 is screaming now, wind tearing at the canopy. But that fat American fighter is pulling away. In a dive, pulling away. 450 miles per hour, 460, 470. The German's airspeed indicator is redlining. His aircraft is shaking. The American? Still pulling away. You see, the engineers at Republic had built something the Luftwaffe hadn't counted on. That massive radial engine up front? It wasn't just powerful, it was a shield. Behind it sat a turbo supercharger system that gave the P-47 incredible high-altitude performance. The entire nose section was essentially a 2,000-pound bulletproof bulkhead. And those 7 tons? That wasn't fat. That was momentum, physics, mass times velocity. In a dive, nothing, and I mean nothing, could stay with a Thunderbolt. But the real surprise came when American pilots started pressing the attack. The P-47 carried 8 50 caliber Browning machine guns. 8. Each gun could fire 800 rounds per minute. Do the math. That's 6,400 rounds per minute of concentrated hell. The Luftwaffe pilots called it the sledgehammer. When a Thunderbolt opened fire, it didn't sound like guns. It sounded like someone was ripping the sky apart. Lieutenant Robert S. Johnson found out just how tough the Jug really was on June 26, 1943. Johnson was jumped by German ace Egon Mayer over France. Mayer was good. Over 100 kills good. He got on Johnson's tail and hammered him with cannon fire. The P-47 took hit after hit. 200 rounds. The canopy shattered. The engine was smoking. Hydraulics gone. Johnson slumped in his seat, playing dead. Mayer pulled alongside to confirm the kill. Johnson looked over at him. Their eyes met. Mayer nodded, a final salute, and peeled off. Johnson flew that destroyed Thunderbolt 200 miles back to England. On one engine. No hydraulics. Bleeding. When mechanics counted the holes, they found over 200 separate impacts. The P-47 saved his life that day. It wouldn't be the last time. By the summer of 1943, word had spread through every Luftwaffe squadron on the Western Front. Don't underestimate the Thunderbolt. American pilots had figured out how to fight in it. You didn't dogfight in a P-47, you boom and zoomed. You used your superior high-altitude performance to get above the enemy. You used your incredible dive speed to attack. You hammered them with those 850s. And if things got hot, you dove away at 500 miles per hour and nobody could follow. The Germans started calling it the diving monster. Colonel Hubert "Hub" Zemke and his 56th Fighter Group became legends. They developed tactics specifically for the P-47's strengths. Zemke's Wolfpack tore through Luftwaffe formations. By war's end, the 56th had more kills than any other fighter group in the European theater. Over 1,000 enemy aircraft destroyed. Francis "Gabby" Gabreski, flying with the 56th, became America's top-scoring European ace with 28 kills, all in the Thunderbolt. The tide had turned. German pilots who'd laughed at the fat American fighter were now avoiding combat when they spotted that distinctive silhouette. The P-47 had become the predator, and they were the prey. But here's something most people don't know about the Thunderbolt. It became one of the most feared ground attack aircraft in history. That rugged airframe that could take cannon fire, perfect for low-altitude strafing runs. Those 8 machine guns, devastating against trucks, trains, and troops. And when the Army started hanging bombs and rockets under those big wings, up to 2,500 pounds of ordnance, the P-47 became a tank killer. D-Day, June 6, 1944. Thunderbolts flew close air support over the beaches, attacking German positions that were pinning down American troops. They flew over 1,000 sorties that day alone. During the Battle of the Bulge in the winter of 1944, when the weather finally cleared, P-47s absolutely devastated German armored columns trying to break through American lines. Pilots called it a turkey shoot. One German tank commander who survived wrote in his diary, "We feared nothing more than the American Jabos," their term for fighter bombers. When the Thunderbolts came, we could only pray and die. By the end of World War II, the P-47 Thunderbolt had flown more than 740,000 combat sorties. It destroyed nearly 12,000 enemy aircraft, roughly half in the air, half on the ground. It claimed nearly 9,000 locomotives, 86,000 railroad cars, and 6,000 armored vehicles. And you know what's remarkable? The P-47 had the lowest loss rate of any American fighter in Europe. That fat airplane that German pilots laughed at? It brought more American boys home alive than any other fighter of the war. Those Luftwaffe pilots who survived learned to respect the Jug. Some learned the hard way. They'd see that big radial engine, those broad wings, that massive fuselage, and they'd remember. This was the plane that looked like a bathtub but fought like a battleship. The P-47 Thunderbolt proved something important. In war, pretty doesn't win. Tough wins. Powerful wins. And when you combine American engineering with American steel and American courage, you get something truly unstoppable. The Germans stopped laughing after 1943. By then, it was too late. If you enjoyed this story about the Thunderbolt and the brave men who flew it, hit that subscribe button. We've got more untold stories from the greatest generation coming your way. And leave a comment. Did you have a family member who flew in World War II or worked on these magnificent machines? We'd love to hear their stories. Until next time, this is World War II, Shadow Echoes, reminding you that freedom wasn't free. It was paid for in courage, blood, and the thunder of 850 caliber machine guns at 20,000 feet.